Hey there everyone, Jonathan Silva here with Pragmatic Works. What I want to focus on here is this great available feature for us called Copilot Studio, formerly known as Power Virtual Agent. Now you may have heard of this before or come across it in the past, but I want to showcase some of the great new features that have been introduced here in 2024 and all the new design here within Copilot Studio so you can start right away to build out your very own customized copilots. All right, so to access Copilot Studio, we're here at copilotstudio.microsoft.com. And similarly to everything else within the Power Platform, this is going to be environment dependent. So go ahead and make sure you're in the right location when you're building. If you want more information on environments, go ahead and check out a couple of our other videos. From here, what I'm going to do is just navigate over in my left-hand navigation to create, and then we're going to build out a new Copilot just using Copilot and the directions it feeds us. So if you select new Copilot right here on the left, we can then come in here and decide, okay, do I want to use Copilot? I'm here to help you build a custom Copilot in a few sentences. How will your Copilot assist your users? So I put this bot will help users get information about Pragmatic Works and about the Power Platform. All right, so any instructions on how it should assist people, specific tone or not, helpful and kind, right? It's very, very basic here, but you could put more if you'd like. If you select any of those other options here of like, how can I have any tips or any helpful information? You could do that here as well. If I want to put any public accessible websites, I could put it in here right now, but I have found that it's actually a lot easier if we just click on create up here in the top right, and we just build the bot from the steps that follow. This is a good spot of getting some of like the descriptors added in, but what I could do here is come on in and just add in, all right, what am I adding into here? And what are the different bots that we want to put in? So here you can see the details are loading for Copilot. That's the default name. But what I want to do is really focus on this area called knowledge. If I come in here to knowledge, or here at the top as well, I could choose to add knowledge. This allows me to add in websites and other information in here or files right away to have our very own custom knowledge source to pass into our specific bot. If I come in here and choose add knowledge, I could choose public website right here. And then I could just paste in my link or just type it in as well that I want to use for my knowledge source. It's that simple to go ahead and add in. And if I just choose add, it will then go ahead and add in this public website. In this case, I put pragmaticworks.com into our knowledge source. Now, you might be thinking, wow, that was fast. That works right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to make sure that everything's working. So what I like to do here when I work with knowledge is also come up here to knowledge at the top. This is where you can see the status of anything you're adding in as knowledge or a knowledge source to make sure like things are actually working. And in this case, it's ready. So I can come over here onto the right-hand side and refresh my conversation with my bot. This is our little test pane. And you can see here, it gives me my welcome message and all this stuff that we can edit later on. But if I want to come in here, I can now ask a question that I know can be answered at the website, like, what is Cert XP? And what it's going to do is utilize our knowledge source that we've just added in, go to that web page and return information from the web page. It does really great with block text and bulleted formatted text from those websites, and it gets information there. And as you can see here, it returns all the information about Cert XP. And what I can then do is select the reference link and go to where it grabbed that information and provided my generative response. You can see all that information's here. So there's me down at the bottom. So you can even get all that straight from that knowledge source. And as you do that down the middle here, what you'll also see is it will show you within the process of the conversation of the bot where it was able to repeat that message or send it out to the user. So that's a really, really quick one to start off with there. Let's say we want to add another knowledge source, right? I go back to knowledge, or I can go to overview, and I can add in another source. Maybe I don't want to use a website. Maybe this time I can add in another knowledge source and put in a file. So I can add and upload a file here like the Power Platform Licensing Guide for June of 2024. If I add that in, it's now going to upload this file, store it inside of this Microsoft Dataverse database instance for this environment, and allow the Copilot that I'm creating to utilize the text contained in that document. Again, the type of documents that work best here are text-based documents, so PDFs and likewise Word documents that are going to be utilized here for us to use as a knowledge source. And the knowledge sources that we have as this status loads in here, the knowledge sources available are quite a few. You can see we have not only public websites and files, but also SharePoint and OneDrive document containers, Dataverse documents as well, and Dataverse data. You can also connect to your enterprise data from here as well. These work really well. I've worked with ServiceNow quite a bit and SharePoint as well and FileShare. These work really well that you could just go ahead and plug in right away so long as you have all the other endpoint connections available. Let's take a look at our status. I'm going to go give it a quick refresh and see how our status is working here. It's still in progress. So while the status of this document is in progress, what I'll do is go over and let's click on settings for a second, because one of the things we get here within our bot, if I select settings in the top right, is I can change the bot details right here. I could have done that in the general area as well, but I could do it right here. Maybe instead of calling this Copilot, I call it my personal virtual assistant. And I can save that. And now that's the new name of my bot. I can come in here and see as that saves some AI integration tools that I can go ahead and work with as well. So we have cognitive services and Azure OpenAI, Copilot SDK. I can come in here to generative AI. And this is a great section for the future for us to be able to say, all right, well, do I want my Copilot to be able to auto-generate its own answers based on the data that it can find? So the generative AI here will allow us to combine actions and topics, which are conversations and others, to figure out which one fits the conversation we're having with the end user. Not only that, but we can also come in here and look at our content moderation. It is high by default, which means Copilot will generate fewer answers, but they're more accurate. Medium, low, depending upon the type of bot and the data we're passing in, we could do that all here. All right, so there is some of our generative AI. Going down just one more here while our data there, and make sure I can save this as well. Going down one more while our data is uploading in there, I'm gonna go to security. Now this section is gonna be really important for you when you're done building, so that we can come in here and talk about authentication. If I want to publish this out to other users, this security and authentication area is going to be super important for me to do so in the future. So if I click on authentication now, you can see the different types of authentication I can set up for this bot specifically. Stay tuned to future videos where I go specifically into authentication here with Copilot Studio. Today, I'm going to leave it like this because I'm not going to go ahead and send it out to others, but we're going to go take a deep dive into that in the future. Then let me hit this close button in the top right. I'm hoping that my knowledge source is ready to go here in just a moment, and then we're going to ask it another question about our data. All right, so there we go. Our knowledge source for our PDF and our licensing guide has been added in, so I can go ahead and I'll go back to my overview here for a moment and refresh our test Copilot area of my conversation, and I'll ask it a question that's taken directly from that document. So what I'll do is I'll ask, what are build messages in Copilot Studio? And then I can ask that question and hope for a good response directly from that PDF itself, so I can figure out, okay, what is the actual answer? There we are. Build messages refer to requests or messages sent to the Copilot, triggering a response or an action. I can see there's my citation. This citation I click on is going to give me a little bit of an insight into the PDF itself and where that PDF can be taken from. There it is, our Power Platform Licensing Guide right there at page 18. What we can do is, if we want in the future, is customize this response as well within our generative answers. We can decide what that citation looks like, how long the response is, and all of that good stuff here as we work deeper within our Copilot Studio design. So there's our quick hit Copilot Studio bot. What I can then do if I'm ready to go, if I wanted to go send this and allow others to use it, I would select publish in the top right corner. This will publish the content across all channels that I point to, so that if I want to point this to a public channel or a Teams or a Power App or others, I can then have that available to go ahead and let those go from that point. All right, so I'll go ahead and select close there while it does in the background, go back into our overview, and it should let us know here at the bottom in our publish status once that's been done. While that is working, there it is, it's finally been published really quick there. We can then go into channels, and this is where it will allow us to determine where to point our bot in the end. You can see here at the top, because we chose Teams authentication, Teams is the only place I can point to right now on our authentication settings. But if I chose no authentication, all of these options pop up for me, including a demo website and a custom website and others for me to point this into. So it does give us quite a bit of options here for us to go ahead and see how that works. And we get a great insight into building our very own customized Copilot. So there you have it. That's Copilot Studio with all the new UI added in and the generative AI and generative responses that we can utilize. We have much better access into knowledge sources. We're not limited as much as we were before. And we have the ability to use all these extra actions that are now capable for us here within our studio design. Stay tuned for future videos as I take a deeper dive into all of those parts of the whole there, so we can learn more about working with Copilot Studio.